Dear seekers, wish you a happy and prosperous life. Today we are about to ponder on the yoga of action. We act in all the moments of our life. Without action, there is no life at all. The yoga of action is also known as karma yoga, is the consecration of all actions and their results or fruits unto the supreme reality. The yoga of action is doing all actions dwelling in union with the divine. We act as a person with communion with the supreme reality. It is removing all kinds of attachment and remaining balanced in success and failure. If we are going on this yoga of action, we do all the actions of our daily life, full of joy, happiness. Even there may be success or failures. We may get the fruits, we may not get the fruits. Still, we understand the duty and the responsibility of acting for the betterment of the society and others. The yoga of action is a selfless service done to the welfare of humanity. It always related with the humanity. I do all my activities with a selfless attitude and willingness to serve for the betterment, for the welfare of the whole humanity, for the betterment of the whole cosmic realities. In its essence, the yoga of action purifies the heart and prepares the inner self for the reception of divine light or attainment of the knowledge of self. The selfless service, first of all, purifies the heart. It removes all the likes and dislikes and limitations and prepares our inner self, the heart and the mind, for the reception of divine light, the attainment of knowledge of ourself. That is why the real selfless service leads the seeker to attain the true knowledge of the realities. The important point is that we have to serve humanity without any egoism or self-based attachments. We have to serve. The pure serve attitude is needed. Our daily life is full of actions. Our actions give meaning to our life. In certain sense, our name and fame also based on the actions we do. For example, someone is a teacher, a painter, artist, athletic, dancer, etc. are names given to them according to their work and profession and other situation of our activities. Naturally, we work to get some benefits or fruits. It is not bad in itself. A mother or a father does all the family responsibilities with a selfless attitude. They serve for each other with care and love. In itself, a selfless intention is involved in the service of a mother and father. Action binds when it is done with a selfish motive, with the expectation of fruits. We are bound when we are doing with an expectation. It conditions, it limits our own activities, what is done with the expectations. But when action is done without the expectation of fruits, it is liberating us. It liberates. It has a special capacity to go beyond the limitations of likes and dislikes, getting some rewards or fruits. Then we are liberated to do our activities with a pure mind, with a pure heart. If we act as an instrument in the hands of the Supreme Reality, as a participant in the cosmic activity of the nature, without expectation of fruits, that action will not bind us. First of all, we got to feel that we are functioning in the hand of the Supreme Reality. We are participating in the cosmic activity of the nature through our activities. Without expectation of the fruits, we do our duty, we do our responsibility for the betterment of the humanity and the cosmic realities. If we have this kind of attitude, that action will not bind us. We have to work unselfishly. If we have a good will, by the very nature, we will work with a selfless attitude. It is the surrender of all action, their fruits, to the Supreme Reality. Whatever may be the fruit, whatever may be the result, it is not only binding me, it binds all the cosmic realities, all the human persons, and also related with the Supreme Reality. Thus, you will be freed from the bonds of chains of action and enjoy peace. So, we may not have the chains of action, reaction, action, reaction. Though it may be a natural process, we think beyond the natural process of acting and reacting, but we do with a heart full of peace, joy, and liberation. Two things are very important in this practice of yoga of action. First of all, the seeker should have non-attachment to the fruits of actions. He has to dedicate all his actions at the altar of the Supreme Realities, who is an indwelling reality. I act with the power of the indwelling reality. This non-attachment brings freedom from sorrow and fear. Non-attachment makes a person entirely courageous and fearless. So he can be a courageous person and fearless person to dedicate himself in a particular action or responsibility. Secondly, he has to dedicate all his actions at the lotus feet of the divine. He develops devotion to God and approaches Him nearer and nearer in divine knowledge. It is a total dedication of all fruits, of all results, of all achievements. Here he gradually feels that God works directly through his faculties. The Supreme Reality is acting through our faculties. That is why we should be the peacemakers with the courage and strength. We should be able to face the other realities, the divine power which is within us. He feels no strain, no burden in discharging his daily works. He feels totally free to do his responsibilities. He is quite at ease, overcoming all the false notion of work. So we have a lot of false notion of work. Basically aiming fruits, aiming results, aiming something through our work. At the same time, we have to go beyond that expectations. The practice of yoga action does not demand that we should possess enormous wealth. We can serve with our mind and with our inner faculties, even without having all the external wealth or other worldly realities. We can work with our mind, with our inner faculties, with our physical faculties. For example, if you find a poor sick man lying on the roadside, we can give him something to eat. We can make him happy to sweet and encouraging words. God is more pleased to such sort of service for the poor and the needy. It is better than the service done by rich people with self-glory and vanity. So many people do plenty of work to gain their own vain glory and vanity of life. What should be the qualification to be a yogi of action? A person who is involved in the yoga of action should be absolutely free from lust, greed, anger, and egoism. Even if there are traces of attachment, you should try to remove them. Even a little attachment may be a stumbling block to enter into a selfless service. You should avoid all desires for name and fame, admiration and gratitude. So the name, fame, admiration are the natural expectations of each and every human person in the normal living. Here we go beyond this normality and dedicate ourselves for the betterment of others with a selfless attitude. You should avoid all desires for name and fame, admiration and gratitude. You should always speak sweet words, even in failures. You should have a good words, a good attitude. You should be humble and free from hatred, jealousy, and harshness, etc. Harshness, etc. You should be humble and free by the bad expectations. How can a proud and jealous man who expects respect and honor from others serve others? Can that man is able to serve others if he is expecting results, respect and honor? He should be absolutely fearless. The yogi of action should be absolutely fearless. Enter into the action with the help of the Supreme Reality. A person who is involved in the yoga of action should have a large heart. He should be free from wickedness, cruelty, greediness, and selfishness. These limitations will make his heart more and more stiff. But a person of selfless work should have a larger heart full of love and willingness to serve. He should be absolutely free from anger, greed, and egoism. These are all the basic qualities which are not allowing us to be a free person. You should have an amiable, loving, social nature. You should be a person of joy and love, able to relate with others with a free will. That is the sign of a pure and large heart. You should be able to move and mix with everybody without distinction of caste, greed, and color. You should be able to move, going beyond the limitations of social understanding. You should have the qualities of adaptability, tolerance, sympathy, cosmic love, and mercy. These are all the inner qualities which are very, very essential for a person who wants to do some selfless service to others. I have seen many persons involved in social service with a total detachment. They seek only for the betterment of others, for the goodness of others. They are empowered with a heart that is full of love, full of peace and joy, so that they can overcome all selfish inclinations, be able to help others. A person who is involved in the yoga of action should be prepared to adjust with the tendencies of others. We should be able to know the tendencies of other people to whom we serve. Even though they may have their own limitations, we should be with a selfless heart to help them. You should have an all-embracing and an all-inclusive heart. All-embracing and all-inclusive heart you should have. It is the inner attitude. It is achieved through the process of selfless actions. You should have a calm and balanced mind. You should have equal vision. You should be willing to rejoice in the welfare of others, other natural realities. At the same time, you should lead a very simple life. You should be able to bear insult, disrespect, dishonor, censure, infamy, disgrace, harsh words, and the pain of diseases. So even though he is involved in the yoga of action for the betterment of others, he should be a simple man, able to understand his own pains, problems, and difficulties of life in the process of his selfless action. He should have absolute faith in the inner reality and the indwelling supreme reality. If he leads a life of luxury, if he wants everything for himself, how can he share his possessions with others? If he leads a life of luxury, he wants to have more and more possessions and psychological appreciations. How can be a person for others? He cannot be a person for others. He is always worried about his own possessions, his own luxury, his own accumulation of goods. By doing selfless service, we purify our heart. It is one of the best quality, the purification of the heart. Egoism, hatred, jealousy, ideas of superiority, and all the negative qualities will vanish. That is the practical gift of selfless service. You will develop humility, pure love, sympathy, tolerance, and mercy. This is the inner ability, quality we achieve gradually. Thus, we are prepared more and more for the service, for the betterment of others. Sense of separateness will be annihilated. We are not at all a separated person. We are integrated person. We are all inclusive persons. We are all always in communion with other realities. We will get a broad and liberal outlook of life. Liberal outlook of life. You will begin to feel oneness and unity with all. Eventually, you will obtain knowledge of the self. You will recognize one in all and all in one. Through this selfless service, we realize one in all and all in one. The more service we do with the inner attitude, the more power, energy, and capacity we get. That we are gradually fortified and strengthened with the values, power, energy, capacity to engage ourselves for the good of others. If we really want to grow in the spiritual path, we must do all sorts of service daily till the end of our life. We should be prepared to do all the activities till the end of our life. Then only we are safe. The spirit of service must enter every nerve, cell, tissue, and bone of our body. Then only we will become a real servant of God. The spirit of service must enter within the inner self, within our physical system, within our intellectual mental system, within our spiritual system. Then only we will become a real servant of God. In the practice of selfless action, there is no loss of effort. There is no harm at all. Even a small practice of this can protect us from great fear of life. Even a small practice of this can protect us from great fears and dangers of life. Many of us attain the purity of heart through constant selfless service. Let us all rejoice in the welfare of all beings. Let our minds be fixed in the divine power while our hands are in the service of the humanity. So, the selfless action leads us to be more and more with the supreme reality at the core of ourselves and be prepared to do any kind of service for the betterment of humanity. Let us try to achieve these inner values of being united with God and being united with others with the selfless activities and selfless service. O Supreme Graceful Light, justice, love and peace be in all beings. O Supreme Graceful Light, justice, love and peace be in all beings. O Supreme Graceful Light, justice, love and peace be in all beings. Be well, be well, be well. Thank you.